company just could not dig out of the hole. Here's an interception. It was one of about a million plays where you thought Mahomes would be able to get it going, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense had an answer. After the game, they spoke. There's not that giant press mob around them, so it was kind of surreal to see the interactions. Patrick Mahomes scored just 9 points on offense. It's the worst loss he's had since college. Here he is speaking after the game.
Obviously, it hurts right now. I mean, it hurts a lot. But we're going to continue to get better. I mean, obviously, I didn't play the way I wanted to play. But, I mean, what else can you say? All you can do is leave everything you have on the field, and I feel like the guys did that. They were the better team today. They beat us pretty good. The worst I think I've been beaten in a long time.
Was the toe a problem for you tonight, and are you going to be having surgery anytime soon on that?
Yeah, I mean, I can't say the toe was a problem when I played last week or 2 weeks ago, and I played well on it. I mean, it's something you battle through. You're playing football, you have to battle through injuries, and so we'll look at it tomorrow, and we'll make a final decision on if we're going to have surgery on it or not.
Health always a concern. Patrick Mahomes tweeting, Chiefs Nation, thank you, Chiefs Kingdom, for the support. Wasn't the way we wanted it to end, but we will be back. And we welcome in Randy Moss. He is from a chilly Arrowhead Stadium this morning. They weren't successful in running it back for that city. It was a terrible offensive performance. Make no mistakes about it. Defensively as well, of course, all phases of the game, it wasn't there. But what was the biggest factor, in your opinion, after talking to the players in Kansas City struggling last night?
Well, there's not much really they could say afterwards except they were just whipped. They were dominated up front in the trenches on both sides of the ball. On offense, they said that Todd Bowles was showing them many of the same looks that the Bills did 2 weeks ago. A lot of deep zone coverage designed to minimize the impact of Tyreek Hill. The primary difference was the Bucs were getting a lot more pressure on Mahomes from their front four. Perhaps some of that was because of the Chiefs' reshuffled offensive line. Mahomes was going backwards a lot when faced with pressure. That didn't seem to work. Perhaps part of it was because the Bucs' front four was just better than the Bills' front four was. And because of the pressure, Tony Romo pointed this out last night, it seemed to magnify that Mahomes' mobility with the toe wasn't quite, obviously, what we're accustomed to seeing. Now, afterwards, Mahomes said, quote, we weren't on the same page as an offense in general. I wasn't getting the ball off on time. The receivers running routes sometimes weren't exactly where I thought they would be, and that reshuffled offensive line blocked well sometimes. Other times, they let guys through. Travis Kelce said, quote, it was one of those days where you felt like anything you did, they had an answer for. And then defensively, Tyrann Mathieu said the Chiefs didn't stop the run as well as he had hoped they would. They gave up 145 yards rushing. That sort of kept the pass rushers off balance for the Chiefs, and that makes it even tougher to defend a guy like Tom Brady. And then, of course, you had the 8 defensive penalties, most of those in the first half, and some of those, as we saw, at very inopportune moments. Andy Reid sort of summarized it all. He said, quote, it was a bad day to have a bad day.
And we're going to dig into that further. Of course, I think a lot of NFL fans are rolling their eyes a little bit. Excuses, penalties, things like that. We'll dig into it. There are some very real things to discuss as far as the injuries are concerned. No one can help that. Thank you so much, Randy. Smiling from Arrowhead Stadium this morning, a city that needs some smiles after a loss. Excellent work by Randy and all of our reporters. Kim Jones, an MVP.
Yes.
Legend. A legend. Let's talk a little bit and dish out some love, though, to Tom Brady. A huge impact in Tampa Bay. That is clear, bringing a championship pedigree, accountability to everyone around him. But Todd Bowles, let's dig in. This defense last night was incredible. But let's look at their season as a whole. When you look back at the 2020 Bucs, what's the thing that stands out to you the most? There's a lot to love here.
Yeah, I think the thing where it starts for me is Brady holding up 4 fingers. A nationally televised loss to the Bears in which he forgot what down it was and they lost. And this thing isn't working. And then they lose and they get destroyed by the Saints. They lose on their home field to Jared Goff. They lose 3 out of 4 games and they limp into the bye week at 7-5. You're like, this team's not going to the playoffs. This team's not going anywhere. And they haven't lost a game since. It was this idea that we all had a bite at this thing. This is a greatest hits album. This is a bunch of parts. This is the best of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's not a real team. Jason Light and the team threw together a bunch of assets and it's not working. And then they figured it out. The defense became incredible. Brady started playing well. I'll remember remember the low point, the nadir, as it's referred to, and I think that's Brady holding up 4 fingers in that night in Chicago where they lost to Nick Foles. And since then, they figured it out. They built this thing up, and I think that's coaching. I think that's Brady, and I think mostly they got awesome players on defense.
Absolutely. And Kyle, I think what you're talking about is the evolution of this offense, right? With Tom Brady, he came from a matchup-style offense in New England where it was, you figure out the best matchup and you throw a lot of intermediate passes. Now he was in an offense, BA and Byron Leftwich, they wanted to push the ball downfield. You saw how Jameis Winston was last year, right? And Tom Brady, traditionally, he's careful with the football. So throughout the season, you saw early on Tom trying to get on the same page with Byron Leftwich and Bruce Arians and throwing the ball downfield. It wasn't working. Then they figured out their identity during their bye week. They run the football. They're a physical outfit. It helps their defense. It lets their defense go ahead and pin their ears back and let Todd Bowles be Todd Bowles and let Brady be special in special moments.
Mike, honestly,
that's exactly what
this has been brought up as the clutchest bye week of all time. They got a Week 13 bye. Do you think if they had a Week 5 bye, they're Super Bowl champs?
They didn't lose since the bye.
Yeah. Probably not.
Probably not, right?
And honestly, even when we won our Super Bowl, we had a late bye week.
It's huge.
Usually the later the bye week, that's when you get your second win. So, yeah, the bye week came perfectly. And for all you conspiracy theorists out there, come on. There's no way everybody created everything so Tom Brady got a championship. Please stay off my Twitter about this. Thank you.
Michael Robinson saying conspiracy theories, don't bring them my way.
Yeah, right.
Don't bring it.
Wait, what?
What happened?
In football. Okay, in football.
And Peter's going to criticize the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's weird. Stay tuned.
World is upside down. It's funny because they played the Lions after that bye week on a Saturday afternoon on NFL Network, and the Lions had 5 coaches who were unable to coach because of COVID reasons, and they went 47-7, and we're all like, all right, but who'd they really beat? And then it kept on stacking and stacking and stacking. My lasting image is going to be a 3rd and 11 pass to Tyler Johnson in the game against the Saints with all the marbles. And Brady had the confidence and the trust to throw to a rookie who had 12 catches on the year, threw it behind him, and Tyler Johnson made the catch. And it showed me everything about Brady. He's like, it doesn't have to be to Gronk. It doesn't have to be to Evans. It doesn't have to be to beat Godwin. I'm going to give these guys the belief and the faith, every single one of them, that it's Scotty Miller or Tyler Johnson. Or last night,
who was it? The tight end.
88, Tyler what is it?
I don't remember.
Number 88, he's throwing to his
It was like the 4th-string tight end in the end zone.
He almost got a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
He played good against the Bears that game, too.
Yeah,
I
know, but
you don't know his name. But I would say this. That's exactly the point. Brady brought everybody along with him on this ride. They all share this Super Bowl victory, and every single one of them can take pride in what they did. And I think
Tanner Hudson.
Tanner Hudson. You wake up a champion.
Tanner Hudson almost had a touchdown.
Number 88.
We need jerseys.
We do.
That's all I remember. Brady, Tyler Johnson.
It's the accountability. I've talked about it a little bit. Like the Brady I know and the one that I, was around up in New England was the one who made these guys, like, you don't want to be the guy who drops the pass for Tom Brady. You don't want to be the guy who hasn't looked at the playbook and, like, learned all the new vernacular. And after the game, we had players like Fournette. All the players were saying Brady was texting us and telling us, we're going to win this game. It's that, and if it's Brady has 6 rings, like, you're going to, well, if he's telling me we're going to win the game, like, I'm going to have that confidence that we're going to win the game. And he's, he was sending text messages the night before. Can you imagine just sitting in bed, like, let me text this guy this and this guy that and Tyler Johnson that and Tanner what now?
Tanner Hudson.
Tanner Hudson, let's tell you you're going to make a huge play. And they believe that. I will say, though, too, Gronk had a great quote last night I would like to read. He said, it was an organization that was ready to win. I was really shocked they didn't go to the playoffs the year before with what they had. It was just cool to see how much talent there was. So as much love as we are going to give Brady and for what he brought and the mentality and accountability, and competency to help these guys realize it. This was, to everybody's point here at the breakfast table, a really, really talented team all around.
It was. And they believed. Mike, you talked about this. You played the Peyton Manning Broncos in the Super Bowl. You guys crushed them. Devin White said last night after the game, he said, I can't believe people were picking against us. Like, you actually thought we were going to lose this game? Sometimes as a player.
I told you guys yesterday, I said when we were playing the Broncos.
Everybody was on the Broncos.
Broncos side. The 2 Wednesdays before the game.
You knew.
We watched